It's my favorite time of year. Get to make my grandmother's ugly soap pie. I'm going to share the recipe with you. The Southern Oats Apple Peanut Butter Pie. First, before you do anything, you got to remember you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And while that's heating up, you can put together the pie. I've laid out the ingredients for you so you can see everything that you'll need for this project. First, the toppings. The toppings consist of some basic ingredients: a 1/4 cup of peanut butter, a 1/4 cup of butter, a 1/2 cup of oatmeal, and some brown sugar, a 1/3 cup of light brown sugar to be specific. Also 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon for that extra flavor. And 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And finally, you'll want to put a dash of salt to your liking. Next, we have the ingredients for the pie filling. I've chosen some green apples there. 5 to 8 apples depending on the size of the apple and depending on the size of the pie shell. A 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. You can use light, but I prefer dark. We have 2 tablespoons of flour. One teaspoon of ground cinnamon also in the pie filling. And for the pie crust, for this I'm showing you a simple frozen pie crust. Now you could buy them in the box, you can make it homemade, it's your preference. Preparing the apples is the first step that I do. And I take an apple. Now I have an apple core peeler. You could do it by hand, or if you're using a peeler you would just center the apple and then you're going to push down on the apple. You want to get it fairly close to you because if it's far away it's a little harder to peel through it. And I'll just pull those apples out. Again, 5 to 8 apples depending on the size. And also you can keep in mind that some people like thinner apples, some people prefer to have chunks. It's a matter of preference, but Grandma's recipe calls for the apple slices. So I'm going to take off the peels, and as I understand it, some people even like the peels in their pies. So I'm going to go ahead and peel all these apple slices. And so that you don't have to worry about the apples turning brown, if you ever peeled an apple before it turns brown right away, I'm going to show you a little trick to keep the apples preserved until you're ready to actually put them in the pie shell. And there it is. I placed the peeled apples in some ice cold water to prevent them from turning brown. Next thing is making the pie filling. I have my apples and the ingredients. Make sure you've drained all the water from the apples. And I pour in the ingredients that I already shared with you what they are: the cinnamon, the brown sugar, the flour. And just pour it right in there. And then what you want to do is mix them all around. Now there's still a little bit of water on the apples, so everything will be caught on the apples as you're stirring around. It'll start to blend together. Just make sure you have it all evenly coated the best you can. And stir this around for a little bit. See, you can see the coating starting to catch on to the apples. Then I'm going to place those apples right in my pie shell. Now I've put it on a rack, or excuse me, a pan, so in case there's any dripping, you don't want to get your oven all dirty. There you go, just put them in there. Now they're going to be a little higher than the pie shell because they will fall a little when it's all baked after you pulled it out. So don't be nervous. You don't want it even or else it'll sink down in. You want it nice and plump on top. Next, making the topping. Very simple process. The first step is I'm going to take the peanut butter and I'm going to put it into a microwave safe bowl, and the butter. And I'm going to mix it around. And I'm going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Just enough to get it mixed together. Melted. Alright, then I'm going to put my ingredients in the bowl. First the oatmeal. And we add some nutmeg. And we have some cinnamon again. Apples and cinnamon. And for this I use light brown sugar. And just a dash of salt. Again, it's your preference. You may want more or a little less, but dash always is perfect when Grandma made it. Okay, then I have the peanut butter and the butter that I had in the microwave. It's nice and melted there. And I'm just going to pour that in. Get it all out of the bowl. That's flavor in there. This is the healthy part of the dessert. Peanut butter with the apples. So I mix them all together. I'm going to cover all those oats. Make sure all that sugar's combined. Perfect. Now we want to pour the topping mix on top of the apples. I've used all clear containers just for convenience for you to be able to see everything visually. Obviously, when you're preparing, you can use whatever utensils, colored bowls that you wish. Let's scrape all that out of there. You can use a rubber scraper, whatever is your preference for equipment. Just make sure you get all of that flavor in there. And there it is on top. Now let's put it in the oven. It's already preheated and we're going to put it in for 45 minutes. Set the timer. 45 minutes later. Let's see. Oh, there it is. See how nice and high it is when it first comes out. As I said, it's going to drop a little bit, and there you have it. It dropped, so now it's nice and even with the pie crust. And it's time for a slice. I let it cool for a few minutes. It's easier to get out. It's good warm. You can eat it cold. I'm going to cut a piece of this. My favorite time of year. There we have it. It smells so good. And you can add whatever accessories you want. I have a little whipping cream that I'm putting on top, but vanilla ice cream is always good as well. Alright. Oh. Here I go. Wish you could smell this. Delicious. Thanks, Grandma. I look forward to this every time this year.